And for years, I've called Iowa the fake ID of college football. They'd win 8 or 9 games, argue they should be in a major bowl of the playoff because they beat up on directional schools out of conference, maybe Purdue, and then they'd go get shelled against the big boy. But you can only have a fake ID for so long. At some point, you're 21 and can drink legally. So it's time for a new fake ID of college football. Somebody that is new on campus, talking a big game, little thirsty, and not of legal age, kind of a poser. And I think it's Colorado. Deion Sanders is the new fake ID of college football. I'm sorry. A lot of talk, a lot of hat, no cattle. I mean, at least Iowa could hold their liquor. These guys are vomiting on themselves after a margarita. It's bad. They've lost 7 straight games to FBS teams. Worst run offense in America. Can't defend the run, can't play defense, tackle poorly. I mean, at least Iowa wore a collared shirt and sort of played the part. Well, maybe they can match up with Michigan. Colorado can't even compete. They have the worst rushing offense in college football, and nobody talks more trash. A lot of stories about what they're playing over the loudspeakers. I don't care about those, but it feels like they're one big campaign to get Shedeur Sanders the Heisman or the #1 pick. It's just a timeshare sales pitch, and I'm over it. And let's be honest, Iowa graduated college. They got a good job at a local accounting firm. They're doing fine with their life. Colorado is a mess. They're on academic probation, and they're bragging about skipping class on Wednesday. The new fake ID of college football is Colorado. All hat, no cattle. Deion, though, says, we're just fine.
I feel like we got the right guys. You may see us shake something up a little bit. Phil Lodeholt is a wonderful offensive line coach. Pat does a tremendous job in calling plays, as he did the first game. So you just can't take a snapshot of one game and not understand the first game. Well, we had 500 yards of offense. I ain't hear all these questions. But I understand it comes with the territory. When you lose, you're going to be ridiculed. You're going to be prosecuted and persecuted, and I'm good.
All right. I am comfortable with a new fake ID of college football. And I will say this. Iowa fans may have been impatient at times and want bigger bowl games, but they were humble. Could Colorado scale back a little on the trash talk? Just a little on the ad campaign? Get through at least 2 margaritas before you throw up on yourself at Senior Froggies in Boulder.
Okay. That's a great segment. I think that's really 100% spot on, and I really wanted to do this. I don't cover a lot of college football. I'm not going to act like I am some big expert on college football, but to me, I thought this was actually kind of full circle for me, because one of the first videos I ever did that actually got some traction was about Colorado and Deion, and I kept saying I think this is all, too much hype. They're trying to act like he's just going to absolutely take over, and I just gave such tremendous pushback, and I got some people agreeing with me, some people who were like, oh, what are you talking about? And especially last year when Deion kind of took over college football, it became really political very quickly, right? If you criticize him, it just the conversation got weird, and I'm not going to go too much into that detail. I really want to steer clear from all that type of stuff, but it just got weird to me, and it just I've never been a big fan of Deion. Do I think he was a great player? Absolutely. Do I think that he's probably a pretty good coach? For sure, but like it's just too much. Right? They were literally acting like he essentially is Andy Reid, right? Like Bill Belichick, and it just that just didn't land for me. And I do see Deion as fake, as in like kind of what Colin is saying, as incredibly over the top and all about himself. I mean, he's literally a coach of this team of college and says it's all about these guys, and yet he has Prime written all over him, and he's in all the commercials. And again, get your money. I'm not judging you. Get your money. We're all trying to make money and live our life. So it's like, it's not judgment, but like, don't come and tell me that it's like, it's all about the team and it's all about, you know, the jersey, you know, the you know, Colorado and not the name on the back and like all that nonsense. And yet it's a campaign for his children and all that, which again, power to you, man. You're trying to help elevate your children. I get it. But like, it's just messy to me. It's just messy, inconsistent, and the way how he talks to the media. You guys weren't asking me these questions before. Like, he's so combative in a disingenuous way where he says, like, I don't care about what anyone has to say. I don't pay attention to what they say. Why would I do that? And then, like, literally 2 minutes later, he says, I kept receipts. I kept receipts. And it's like, well, how do you keep receipts if you also say that you don't care about what other people say? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. So there's just too much disingenuousness, if that's a word. You know, he's just not sincere enough for me to really believe in what he says. And like, and then he punches down a lot, right? There's kids who like left Colorado, and he's like, we don't need them. We only want people who want to be here, dogs or this, that. And it's like, why are you calling out college kids? Why are you calling out like 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds? These are kids to you. These are literal children. They're still going through puberty. Like, you're supposed to be the grown man. Like that one famous viral video a million years ago where he's like, where the coach was like, I really forget the whole story, where he was like, you know, don't come at the players, like, come at me. I'm a man, you know, like, I'm 40 or whatever, right? I think is how it went, which is crazy that like 40, like, I'm a man. I'm like, oh man. But like, it just lands weird to me. And the way how they were trying to act like Colorado was about to take over college football, that it was like, oh my God, and what Deion was doing was legendary and it's insane. And we have like rappers and celebrities and The Rock and I almost said a politician's name, a politician, you know, there, and it was just like this chaos. And I get it. Like, he reinvigorated Colorado. He made that football program matter more. But like Colin said, it's a fake idea. I think that's a beautiful. I think they definitely talked about that. He's talked about this before, about how they come up with certain ideas, you know, pre-production and in the meetings before. And he goes, oh, this is great. I got to use this. And so that was clearly where they were talking about that before. They were like, this is what this is. Fake ID. Let's go. And I think it's just completely accurate. I love it. I think that's just so accurate, right? It's fake. It's fake. And what's really funny to me is that Colin hyped up Colorado last year, hyped them up to mega. And I was just like, no. This is weird. And then they came back down to earth. And then Colin had to kind of do like his whole like thing where he was like, hey, yeah, I bought into Colorado a little bit more than I should, but we all did, you know. And he was like trying to sell like, hey, it's okay that we were wrong about this. And it's like, no. People were pushing back. You just didn't want to hear it. But again, credit to Colin. He does change his mind, which is what I respect about him more than anything. He respects mine. I do think he's being genuine. I think at the moment he really believed in Colorado. He got more information, and now he's like, yeah, he doesn't double down. He doesn't make excuses. He's not like, hey, stop being so hard on Colorado. Look what they're doing, blah, 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 blah. He's like, no. You know what? I've seen enough. I'm changing my opinion on this now. And it's something that I highly, highly respect with Colin. But, you know, Deion seems to be still this very kind of controversial figure. And they talked about last year how Deion is bringing so many eyes to TV and watching these games and stuff like that. And that's a win. And it is to a degree, but you have to understand why people were watching those games. And it wasn't rooted in something that was sustainable. Same thing like getting a ratings bump when Taylor Swift is with the Chiefs. That's not sustainable. So if you're growing that way, it's misleading. It's very misleading. So that's what I always thought the Colorado ratings bump was. And like, now does it still exist? Like, I mean, like people are barely talking about it like they were last year, and they felt that they were going to continue that momentum. And no, people aren't tuning in to watch a 28-10 game like that, where Colorado looked like they were lost. I actually watched that game where they just looked lost. I mean, like Deion wasn't even coaching well. Like, not even just talking about his personality. Like, he wasn't even coaching well. His clock management, the way his use of his timeouts made zero sense. And I'll give the caveat that, hey, even Andy Reid had bad issues with clock management, but it's just like, if you're gonna have all this bark and talk about accountability and this and that, well then like you have to be kind of flawless. If you constantly bark and talk about yourself and this or that, you kind of have to be flawless. And he's been the opposite of that. You know, he himself as a coach has made concrete, very, obvious mistakes that just to me can't be denied. And so it's like, you got to be careful then with what you're saying. That's what Colin's also saying. Like, stop talking so much trash here. Like, you got to do something to be able to back it up. Otherwise, you just look foolish. And that is what Deion looks like. And now it's like he can't handle it. Because now when you push back and say, hey, you didn't look too good, you lost 28-10, he goes, you guys weren't saying that all last week, were you? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and he goes, but I get it. It comes with the territory. Well, clearly you don't get it. Because you're kind of being combative. You're trying to like misdirect people. Like, you don't get it. You don't get it. You say you get it, but you clearly don't, right? And it's just this is just an interesting story to me, because there was so much hype last year where they literally predicted that his son and Prime were going to go to the Dallas Cowboys, right? Jerry Jones was going to hire Deion and was going to draft his son. Let's go. And it's just like, who would want that? I mean, seriously. I mean, I hope the Dallas Cowboys do that, just because that would be box office and that would be wildly entertaining just to watch. But obviously, with Dak signing that contract, it's not happening. But it's just like, I don't know. We just go off the rails sometimes. Occasionally in the sports world, we go off the rails with specific stories, right? With Coach Prime, with Taylor Swift. Like, it's just like we go off the rails. And I just think that we just start to have conversations and start talking about things that just like don't really make sense. And then if you try to give any pushback, it's like, how dare you? How dare you do that? And for me, the experience with Deion was one of those things where I felt like everyone else was crazy except me. And believe me, there's plenty of times that I'm crazy and everyone else is sane. So this is not me trying to say like I always get it correctly and I'm always right. That is not at all what I'm saying. I get plenty of things wrong. But it was one of those moments where I was just like, I don't understand. Like, why don't people see what I see? This is like, I don't get it. I get why people are hyped. I get why people are excited. But why can't they see more clearly this experience? And it's just funny to see Colin kind of go full circle. And the truth is, Deion starts winning a few games, then people can come back and be like, oh, you were ready to bury him. You were ready to bury him. And that's what makes sports great, right? Deion rights his ship. He starts winning games. He gets into the playoffs or whatever. And it's just like, and he starts, Sanders starts balling out. And it's just like, right? You go back and be like, oh, really? That take aged poorly. And to me, that's the beautiful thing about sports, is that it's just, you never really know how things are going to go. So don't take what I'm saying right now as like as a true victory lap. But it is interesting to see someone like Colin, who was so behind Deion. I don't think he could be any farther now from the support of Deion, right? He can't be any farther away from supporting him. And it's been an interesting timeline, because I've been watching him talk about this. And like I said, I don't follow college football incredibly closely like I do the NFL. So for me, it's really just like, when I'm looking at college football and I'm looking at stories like Deion, I'm looking at it through like a media lens. Like, what are the conversations that are being had? What are people saying? How are the fans being responding to it? What about the random non-fans? Like I always reference, like the mothers, my moms, the grandmoms of the world, who don't really are not diehard fans, don't know any of the players, but like they'll still casually watch games. Like, what are they saying? To me, those storylines can always be interesting, and that's through the lens that I had been following a lot of this type of stuff. So yeah, just all interesting to me. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think Deion has kind of fallen from that peak hysteria of all of it? Or do you think, no, too soon, where you're kind of just, doing a victory dance too soon? And again, not me personally, just in general, for anyone who I guess doesn't like Deion. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.